I'm Sarah Hughan, joined by Brazilian Critical Minerals Managing Director, Andrew Reid. Andrew, Brazil's rare earth industry is experiencing a surge in interest. What are the facts behind this growth?
Look, I think, Sarah, most people would be interested to know that Brazil already has the world's third largest reserves of rare earths. Just recently, a commercial mine called Serra Verde has started operation. It is only the third commercial mine outside of China to start up, and it's the first mine in over a decade to get up and running as well. So they're just not easy projects to start up. Over the last couple of years, we've seen quite substantive discoveries of rare earth projects, both hard rock and soft rock, and it's really these soft ionic clay deposits that are garnering the most attention of investors because they have the potential to be developed with really low amounts of capital, and they can operate under very low cost structures as well. So that's what's becoming very interesting for the market. And certainly at a time when these other projects around the world, predominantly hard rock projects, are struggling to get finance and are not inching their projects forward right now.
You mentioned that Brazil has the third largest reserves of rare earths, but it pales in comparison to China's dominance. How can that gap be bridged?
Look, as I mentioned, we've got the Serra Verde mine that's just started. It's really important that operation, that project, is successful commercially, so that really will then pave the way for other projects to get up and running. Look, China has done a really good job over the last couple of years of oversupplying the rare earth market. That's caused the prices to become really depressed. So it really is a completely artificial environment that we're operating in at the moment. But the reality is it won't last like that forever, right? At some point, China will decide to take their foot off the accelerator. And for projects like Brazilian Critical Minerals, we need to be ready. We need to de-risk our projects. We need to move them forward. We need to start having conversations around financing. We need to get them to the starting blocks so that when the prices do recover, and we think that will be sooner rather than later, that we can start to bring these projects in a relatively short period of time.
What are some of the obstacles for miners in Brazil that you feel might need to be addressed?
Look, I think the hurdles in Brazil are really the same as for any project in any other geographical part of the world. Well, getting access to financing in rare earths is particularly difficult, right? You can't walk down to the corner bank and ask for $200 million. The market is quite opaque in its pricing structure. Banks don't understand that. You need to then start to access potential taxpayer-funded money, which is what Australia, the US and Canada are doing quite successfully now, putting lots of money into the critical minerals sector. So that's really quite important. And we have to be able to understand how to operate under these lower price regimes. The prices are volatile, they can fluctuate. So you need, again, to be able to configure your project to be able to operate in those regimes and do that successfully over a large period of time. But look, there's a lot to like about Brazil. It's got a really good labour cost base. It's certainly got abundant clean energy. It's got good mining regulations, and most importantly, it's got really good political connections. It's got good connections with Western countries, being United States and Canada, but it also has good relationships with China. So if you want to get money from the US for critical minerals, you almost certainly will have to sell that product into China at some point because they dominate the rare earth sector, they dominate the downstream processing and supply chain, and we need to do that for a period of time while the rest of the world is getting their act together and starting to develop the supply chain outside of China.
Andrew, what are your thoughts on rare earths pricing at the moment, and what's the outlook for that potential impact on the sector?
Look, Sarah, as I mentioned, the prices are quite depressed at the moment. I think we've almost certainly hit the floor. I think the only way for rare earth pricing is up, and that will largely depend on the Chinese. They are like oversupplying the market, but I think the supply of rare earths will start to diminish from China over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, and we'll see a natural balance back in the market. And at that point, we'll start to see the prices start to increase as well. And again, I think that's the opportunity that we've got for projects in Brazil and certainly the rest of the world, that when that does happen, that the incentive price is then reached for projects like Brazilian Critical Minerals to get moving and get up and running.
Sounds like it's not too far away then. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Sarah.